All right, let's talk about this. Nick Shook over at NFL.com. Every week he ranks the overall performances of every quarterback who has started at least one game in the NFL or who appeared in one game in the NFL last year. So he ranks the performance of every quarterback in a given season. If you played a snap, and there were 63 quarterbacks who played a snap, then you were going to get run on this list. So he does this every year, and he does a ranking at the end of the year of every quarterback after you get through the season. And Dak ranked pretty high on this list. Now, why is that a gut punch? Well, let's get through it. First off, right off the bat, Dak's best season of his career was what year, would you say? 2016 was his rookie year. Really solid. Didn't turn the ball over, but wasn't like a huge...
He wasn't a... Yeah.
2019, he was really good, but that was an 8-8 team. He started off really good in 2020 before he got hurt. And then, 2023, he finished runner-up in MVP. So what would you say has been his best season?
Probably the runner-up MVP year.
That has been his highest ranking at the end of a season to this point, was 2023 on Nick Shook's rankings. He finished 6th.
Now, I remember in the NFL Top 100, the year after his rookie year, he was like 14th or something like that.
Yeah, he got pretty high on that list, if I recall. I mean, Zeke was higher, but I don't know if he got all the way up to 14. That would be very high. But he's somebody who, given his seasons, I was a little surprised that they came up with five different players that were, or 5 different quarterbacks that were better than him in 2023. That must have just been the end of the season. Wasn't very good. Ezekiel Elliott in 2016, by the way, was ranked 7th. Dak was 14th, so you were right. Good memory there, Chop.
What a memory there, Peyton. Did you see that?
What an upset.
That was 10 years ago.
Unreal.
Chop's memory. What an upset. Right there.
Hey, you know, that's sign one of dementia. Long-term memory is good. Short-term is bad.
These are his previous rankings. 2016, he was 7th. 2017, he was 20th. 2018, he finished 18th. 2019, he finished 11th. 2020, he finished 16th. That was the year he got hurt. 2021, he was 9th. 2022, he was 11th. 2023, he was 6th. And then last year, 2024, he finished 19th in the rankings. Would you like to guess where he finished in the rankings this year?
9th.
Okay, 9th. Let's go with this list. This is the Tier 1 quarterbacks ranked in order. For the very first time, finishing the season as number 1 and finishing ahead of his highest previous spot, which was 5th, Matthew Stafford came in as the number 1 ranked quarterback on Nick Shook's list this year after all the season was said and done. Number 2 on this list is a man who has finished number 2 in each of the previous 2 seasons and just got it again for a 3rd year in a row.
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen. Number 3.
And this is just based off of last year's performance.
Yep. Number 3.
God. Are they going to say... Surely not Drake May.
Rain. Dakota. Really? Prescott comes in ranked number 3. The rest of the quarterbacks that are on Tier 1, 4 overall, Drake May. Number 5, Justin Herbert. Number 6, Trevor Lawrence. This is he finished 6th in 2022 as well. This was the write-up on Dak Prescott, though. That's the end of the Tier 1 guys. Tier 2 starts with Sam Darnold at 7. But this was the write-up on Dak Prescott. He says Dak Prescott was the reason the Cowboys finished anywhere near 500 this season. He proved himself as one of the NFL's best passers, completing a league-high 404 passes on his attempts for 4,552 yards and 30 touchdowns. He powered George Pickens' career-best season and reminded us of his value throughout Dallas's up-and-down campaign. The hope is that the Cowboys can maximize his talents better in 2026. So he's the 3rd best quarterback in the NFL last year, according to Nick Shook's end-of-the-year ranking. Why is that a bad thing? Why is that a sad thing? Why would that ever be a sad thing, Chop?
I can't imagine it would.
What would you think would potentially be depressing about that?
That they wasted the number 3 season?
You maybe just wasted the best year of his career. Not only just the best year of his career, the best year relative to the rest of the NFL. There was no, like, Patrick Mahomes ridiculous standout season this year. There was no Lamar Jackson 40 touchdown, 4 interception year. You had, objectively, I think, the performance he put up this year, what? You would say most people said he was definitely a top 5 quarterback this year, right?
Yeah, I would think so.
Like, I mean, you can nitpick about who was he better than? Who was better here or there? Was Drake May actually a better performer than him? His team clearly was, but was Drake May a better performer? Whatever else. You can have those sort of debates. But when you finish the year as a definitive top 5 quarterback and you went 7-9-1, I don't know. I think this is the thing right here that is 100% driving the bust the budget talk, is this reality. They'll never say it. They'll never talk about it in those terms. This was, I think they know that this was just a devastating shot to know you got him back healthy. You don't know if he's going to have another full year of health like that again.
Right.
You got the level of play you did, and your defense couldn't even be just slightly below average. They were awful.
Awful.
Terrible. It was an awful defense. That's not an NFL defense that you put out there anymore.
No, it was not.
I mean, the fact that the points per drive they allowed, 3 points per drive almost on defense. They are giving up a score every single time a team touched the ball.
That's unheard of.
It's the worst rate in NFL history. The almost 3 points per drive, it is a historically bad number. All you needed was you just needed to be just okay.
I think the Patriots averaged 1 point per drive in the playoffs. And the Cowboys averaged 3, allowing 3 in the regular season.
You finished this season ranked 32nd in third down conversion rate on defense. By the way, there was a point during the season where you had the worst third down conversion rate ever allowed. And they rallied it a little bit at the end of the year, but it was the worst in NFL history. You were 32nd in points per game allowed. You were 32nd in passing yards allowed. You were 32nd in net yards per pass attempt. You were 31st in rush touchdowns allowed. You were the worst in the NFL at score percentage.
Right there.
You allowed 51.4% of drives to end in touchdowns.
God.
And that includes kneel down drives. That includes drives at the end of the half where you're just running things out. This includes being up big and just running out clock and punting it on you. 3 points per drive. Your average starting field position was 28.6, the 28.6 yard line. It was the worst in the NFL.
And we're going to address it.
And yet you were number 1 in yards per drive. You were number 2 in plays per drive. You were number 2 in the NFL in first downs, number 2 in the NFL in yards, number 7 in points scored. And you know what? You did that with an offensive line that was not like super stellar. That offensive line was solid this year, but this was Dak playing at a really high level that you have now wasted.
Yeah.
And you have to come to grips with the fact that you absolutely wasted it. And that's where this whole bust the budget thing comes from, is I think internally they recognize we might have effed up the best shot with him. Not with the rest of the team. This is not a contender by any means, but that may have been the best shot with him.
Yeah, it might have
last
been.
year, and you went 7-9-1.
I'm looking at, it's all behind a paywall now, so I don't have the number. But it looks like he was 3rd in DVOA.
I mean, he was last year, so this is...
Stafford was 1, Goff was 2, Dak, Drake, and Sam Darnold. Does that make sense? Does that sound like it could be right?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Stafford, Goff, Dak, Drake. Man, Darnold higher than I thought. Trevor, Caleb, and Bo.
Here's what's wild, too, about Dak's consistency. How many times, including injury-shortened seasons, so we would include last year, we would include 2020, how many times do you think Dak has had a top 5 QBR in the NFL?
Boy, he's got a really high floor.
10 years he's played.
He's got a really high floor. I would say he's had a top 5 QBR. I would say 5 times.
6 times. He led
He's
the
got
NFL
a
in
very
23.
high floor.
He has, and the problem now is you're talking about somebody who is going to consistently, just because of age, not anything else, consistently get more hurt. He's gonna be unavailable to you more often. The level of play is probably going to slip a little bit. Now, to be fair, quarterbacks in the modern era where the game is so cerebral and the game is so much about how fast you're processing things and what you've seen, you can play into your mid-30s pretty well, typically. So that's why you've got like 3 more years probably.
Especially if your arm, obviously your arm has to stay there. You get guys that are like, Brady didn't use his legs, so it didn't matter.
This might be the peak, though.
Yeah, Dak doesn't have to use his legs.
Even if he plays well for the next couple of years, which I think he probably will. This was probably, there's a very good argument to be made. This was the best, though. Mm-hmm. He's not going, and relative to the rest of the league, you didn't have the dominant Mahomes or Allen or those kind of seasons. And you lost it because your secondary didn't know where they were supposed to stand on every other snap.
Philo.
That's ridiculous.
Philo.
The belt.